Welcome. Welcome to Sunday night's edition of the Final Boss Podcast. Tonight, I'm entertaining you guys with episode number 76. Boom. Okay. I'm not the final boss if I don't have the final boss sign lit. We are in business. I hope everyone has had an amazing week. Hope you're enjoying your weekend thus far. And man, it's that time again. It's the Sunday night show with just me and you. And we're going to get into it very shortly. So before we start, episode number 76, Identity Politics. Identity Politics. That's tonight's show. I got a few admin notes. I know y'all laughing. Go ahead and laugh. I know you're laughing. It's okay. It's good to laugh. I have a few admin notes that I like to get out before we start the show. First of all, if you haven't gone to the merch site, what are you waiting for? Go to the merch site and grab you some merch. That goes for my smarts and that goes for my final bosses. Listen, go grab you some merch. The URL to the merch site is www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. That's the merch site. Go grab you some merch. And I'm gonna keep saying it. And I'm gonna keep driving it down your throat till you get tired of it. And then I'm gonna break your wheel. And then we're gonna have the number one. We're gonna have the number one merch site in the world, along with the number one podcast in the world. It's coming. You heard it here first. In the world. That's how much I believe, and not only in myself, the higher power, God, that is giving me power to deliver these messages, but that's how much I believe in you and in the support that you have bestowed upon me. Boom! Boom! So go get you some merch. And hello, mama. My mom's always on. Listen, guys, we got a great show for you tonight. We're gonna get ready to it in just a few moments after I finish up these admin notes, and then we're gonna go into the brass tacks. Second admin note for the night. First, thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your continued support. I need you guys to continue to like, share, subscribe, send us some stars, and give us some feedback. Those 5 things in that order. And it's free. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on StreamYard, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Spotify, and we are on TikTok. I need y'all to go do all of those 5 things. And for the feedback, if you choose not to leave us feedback on those respective social media platforms, you can email me. And guess what? You have an idea? You want to get some information out there? Let me show y'all guys something. You have an idea? you have some information that's pertinent to the group that you want to get out there, I'm available. We are available. Send us a email at send us an email at info at thefinalbosspodcast.com. That's the email, one word. That's the email, one word. Info at thefinalbosspodcast.com, one word. We've made 10 million interactions and views in the last 30 days. You see that? The platform's growing. 10 million. 10 million. That's nothing but God, man. That is nothing but God. And 10 million? Man, I'm so thankful, blessed. My goodness. But I owe all of that to God Almighty and to my smarts and my final bosses who continues to support us. So please, if you have something you want to get out there, the audience is growing. Don't wait. I'm telling you, don't wait until you can't, because there's a point where you get too big that those opportunities aren't available anymore. So if you want to take advantage of it now. Now is the time. I'm sipping on Mountain Dew. So I just need a little bit of caffeine. We're super busy today, writing a 10-page paper that we're coming to the end of this semester, and it's worth 25% of my grade. So, oh man, it's been rough. Had a few family passings in the last week. RIP and RIH to them. My Uncle Eddie, Juan Carlos. I love you guys, man. I love you. You will be missed. The joy and love that stood in their ceremonies was phenomenal. But man, listen, let's get into it. Tonight's brass tacks. Tonight's brass tacks comes from Christopher Hitchens. Now, I read this. I read this quote that he has, which coincides with tonight's subject, identity politics. It's it's a little rough. So I'm letting you know ahead of time that this quote is a little rough, but it marries up with what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we're going to get right into it. Christopher Hitchens. People who think with their epidermis or their genitalia or their clan are the problem to begin with. One does not banish this specter by invoking it. If I would not vote against someone on the grounds of race or gender alone, then by the exact same token, I would not cast a vote in his or her favor for the identical reason. Yet, see how this obvious question makes fairly intelligent people say the most alarmingly stupid things. That quote comes from Christopher Hitchens. Not my words, his words. Shout out to him, whoever he is. Christopher Hitchens, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, man. I told y'all it was going to be a little rough, but you know, it goes with what we're about to talk about. And We're getting ready to get into it. Let me set. Ooh, boy. I almost messed it up. Ooh, feedback. All right, turn that off. That's a little delay. That's odd. Okay, so final bosses, final bosses, final bosses. Smarts. Listen. You know where you're at. You're at home. This is home. Let's call it home because that's what it is. And those who are just coming on board and who are not familiar, this is the Final Boss Podcast. Today, we're tackling a complex and often contentious topic: identity politics. This isn't about taking sides, it's about understanding the nuances, the history, and the potential consequences of this powerful force that's shaping our world today. So, we're going to get into it and talk about it. We're going to look at different aspects. We're going to talk about a little bit of history of it. I love history. I'm a history buff. And man, it's a heavy topic. And just to let you guys know, this goes further than a name on your hat or a brand that you may wear. There's much more to it than that. I know some people probably thought, oh, he's about to talk about the MAGA people or the Maha people, all the labels. Labels. You know what I say? Labels equal fables. Labels equal fables. Y'all write that down. Coin that phrase and understand it came from me, the final boss. On tonight, 4/27 at 9:11 p.m. Labels become fables. All right. What exactly is identity politics? Right? That's probably a question you're probably asking yourself. What exactly is identity politics? Well, I'm going to tell you because that's what I do. Identity politics is a broad term encompassing political action intended to address the unique experiences and concerns of groups based on shared identities such as race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, disability, or class. Now, think about that for a minute. All those things are examples. All those things are examples. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna say it again. Shared identities such as race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, disability, or class. Write that down. I hope you're taking notes. Wait a minute. Oh man, the playoffs are on. I'm looking and seeing who's tuning, who's watching, or who's joined us. It's not that many people tonight, but that's okay. We're gonna get into it anyway. It's rooted in the idea that these shared identities shape lived experiences and political interests. You're probably wondering, what are some historical examples? The women's suffrage movement was one. Civil rights movement is another. The LGBTQ plus rights movement is another one. Of course, your MAGA and whatever you identify with. Those are examples of identity politics. This concept is nothing new. It's not a new concept. It's not a new concept. The concept has evolved significantly, moving from a focused on marginalized groups gaining basic rights to more complex discussions about intersectionality and representation. I believe it has a lot to do with the growth of certain social movements and the need for political change. But you can also throw in there, like football, since y'all watching the draft and watching basketball and not watching me, there's a rise in identity politics globally. This thing is growing, is global. Now, when we talk about rise, we also have to talk about what social and political factors contribute to this rise. Why is it so prominent right now? We have to talk about it. And I'm going to, that's what I do. The rise of identity politics is linked to several factors, including the increasing awareness of social inequalities. Write that one down. Social inequalities. There's a growth of social movements and changing political landscapes. The civil rights movement, for example, played a pivotal role in bringing identity politics to the forefront. It demonstrated the power of collective action. The power of collective action. You could say it probably, no, I'm not going to say that. It wasn't birthed by that. There were different movements long before the civil rights movement. But it depends on what civil rights movement you're referring to. If you didn't know, the NRA is a civil rights organization. And it's the oldest civil rights organization. If you didn't know, take notes for that. Now, you're probably wondering the power of collective action. Well, based on shared identity to achieve significant political change, you have to talk about the women's movement, the feminist movement. Those are also identity politics movements that were birthed by the civil rights movement, right? Feminism brought attention to gender inequality and it helped to establish gender as a key dimension to or of identity politics. Now, a lot of these politics overlap. They cross each other. It's like crossbreeding. And then they either come out bigger than they were or they crossbreed and become something new. And that is actually a concept called intersectionality. Intersectionality is crucial. Let me explain. Get my thoughts together. Intersectionality, coined by I read it earlier. Hold on. By Kimberly Crenshaw. Kimberly Crenshaw. Right. Take notes. If you want to know about intersectionality, that phrase was coined by a Kimberly Crenshaw. It recognizes that people have multiple overlapping identities that intersect to create unique experiences of discrimination and privilege. Speaking of discrimination and privilege, this message and this discussion on this said podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Oh, and by the way, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Sorry I didn't give you the greeting of the day earlier. I'm just a messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. I apologize. So, a women, for example. Now, this is identity politics. So we're wait a minute. Who is this? Can you share the broadcast with me? Which country are you from? I'm from the US. Hold on, man. Sorry, guys. Women face different challenges based on beliefs and race, right? And in that, those challenges are different than what the challenges that men have based on belief or race. But through intersectionality and the challenges of intersectionality, there's traditional understandings that coincide with identity politics. I keep stopping. Somebody's trying to send me a message, and they're asking me all these questions. I'm like, bro, I'm in the broadcast. And those challenges have a tendency to view identities in isolation, highlighting the complex interplex of various social categories. Understanding intersectionality is crucial for developing effective strategies to address social inequalities. And that's what it's really all about, addressing those social inequalities. Now, I in the title, I said we're going to do pros and cons. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do the pros and cons. So, let's talk about the let's talk about favoring identity politics, right? Let's examine several arguments that favor identity politics. There are proponents that will argue that identity politics is essential for amplifying the voices of marginalized groups and addressing systemic inequalities. It also provides a framework for collective action and political mobilization. In it, and how it identifies those who are using identity politics to empower certain marginalized groups. They do this by bringing attention to shared experiences, shared experiences and concerns. It creates a sense of solidarity and collective agency. It helps to ensure that the voices and perspectives of marginalized groups are represented in political decision making. Guys, if you have questions, just drop them in the chat, man. My smarts and my final bosses, just drop it in the chat. I'll answer. And we can keep the ball rolling. We can keep the ball rolling. Some I'm holding off for some folks that may have some questions. All right. I'm gonna wait for them. But we're gonna keep it going. Listen, I just dropped information for favorable causes for identity politics. Now, let's take a look at the criticisms, right? Because we do pros and cons here. There's no favor. It's no black and white. It's the whole spectrum. So let's talk about it. Critics argue that identity politics can be divisive, promoting conflict and hindering broader social unity. They suggest it can lead to an us versus them. That sounds familiar. A us versus them mentality, undermining efforts to build a more inclusive society. Ask yourself this, smarts and final bosses. Ask yourself this. How can identity politics lead to division and exclusion? Ask yourself that question. Well, it focuses on solely on group identity, which can overshadow shared interests and common goals. Those examples we talked about earlier. We talked about race, gender, and exacerbated social tensions, the politicalization of those, right? We talked about it. That was the negative. So we did the positive and we did the negative. Now, as you know, the political landscape right now, you can see various groups that identify with identity politics. And it's all labels. It is all labels, right? And what did I say? Labels become fables, right? Labels become fables. A lot of times when something is really popular, it gets to a point where it gets it exhausts itself. The energy behind it fades out. It's like fashion. And then people, because the lack of attention span, are on to something else. They're here today, gone tomorrow. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, you're hearing it first. And you know what? Speaking of which, let me go ahead and say this. Let me go ahead and give myself a clap. And at the same time, I'm going to throw a flag on the play. Flag on the play to me. Flag on the play. Right? A lot of people ask me about content. I have my eyes and ears to the beat of the street. My fingers on the pulse. I thank you to you guys, my smarts and my final bosses, and all of my guests. I've gained the ability. Well, I've always had discernment, but now with discernment, I have the ability to hear what people are saying and what people are not saying. I hear what they're not saying. I hear what they're passionate about. I hear their pain and I can identify it. Right? And I can identify it. So I'm saying that to say, yes, I have my finger on the pulse. And mark my words, you can go back and look at multiple episodes that I've dropped. And this is episode number 76. Multiple episodes that I've dropped, either myself, my special guests that are on Thursday, or Big Mike the Sensei on Tuesday. And I guarantee if you look at what's going on in the media, news-wise, we've talked about it either a week or several days ahead before it dropped. I read a lot. I watch several variations of different news channels. I don't just go to one. I don't have one particular source. I look at them all. And based off of their talking points and the energy, I kind of see the flow of things and what's happening or what's about to happen. So don't be surprised that in a week or so, or in a couple of days, somebody's going to be talking about identity politics on the mainstream media. I guarantee it. And I want you guys, when it happens, I want you guys to hit me up and say, hey, you know what? You were right, man. They're talking about it right now. I would not be surprised. So I had to get that out there because I get asked that a lot. Identity politics and this political landscape that we're in. There's a shifting power dynamic. And you know what? I said one of the next episodes that I'm going to do with me by myself on the Sunday night show is going to be The Victor Tells the Story. The Victor Tells the Story. Now, you can't get mad at the victor. You can't get mad at the victor. You can't get mad at the winner. Anytime somebody wins something, they want it. And because they want it, it gives them the opportunity to make changes or tell their story. So maybe next Sunday episode would be The Victor Tells the Story. I like that. Victor Tells the Story. I think I'm going to make that for next Sunday's episode. But right now, ask yourself this question. How has identity politics reshaped the political landscape current in America? Ask yourself that question. Give yourself something to think about while I take a sip of this good old Mountain Dew that I shouldn't be drinking. But I needed some caffeine, and coffee's too strong. I'll be up all night. But I got to finish that paper too, so I guess it wouldn't be a bad thing. But I don't want to be up all night. Listen, identity politics has significantly altered the political landscape, leading to increased political mobilization amongst various groups. And there's a huge shift in power dynamics. You can't get mad at it. You cannot get mad at it. People like what they like. It's okay. This is my thing. We don't have to agree with the same politics. We don't have to agree with the same ideas. We don't have to. I'm glad that I don't live in an echo chamber. I'm glad I don't live in a political vacuum. I do not want to be in a political vacuum. I do not want to live in an echo chamber. You lose the ability of hearing ideas from different people, different groups. Those things are important. If you're just running around with your ideas and it's singular and cause, you're in an echo chamber and you're regurgitating your ideas to whomever who believes in what you're believing in, and that's just expanding the political vacuum and those echo chambers. Identity politics identity politics. I want y'all to just remember what we're talking about. Identity politics. It is through identity politics that we have all these formations of new political parties. Where's the Tea Party? Nothing against those individuals who are in the Tea Party. That's what they chose to be in. I think who I think it was I think Bernie had his own party as well. Nothing against his party either, or people who believed in his ideas. I just don't know the top of my head what the name of that one was. There's just so many labels, man. Just too many labels. We're American. That's what we are. We're American. But because of these identity politics, it has led to the formation of all these new political parties, movements, and things that are focused on specific identity groups. Specific identity groups. Now, I mentioned this on episode number 75. Shout out to my last guest for episode number 75, Earl Wyatt. Go check out episode 75. He was a great guest, super smart guy. Shout out to him for joining us and the discussions we had on there, man. And on that particular episode, we had a chance to dive in a little and talk about identity politics and some other things as well. But there was a point where I had mentioned that because people were against one particular topic, one particular social issue, just one, 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 one. People are against one particular social issue, and that one particular social issue caused them to make a vote for the person who they believe represented them. They didn't think about all the other social issues. They didn't think about the diversity of America, but because they were against that one particular social issue, they voted for who they voted for. And it's cool. Listen. This is I'm not against or for. I play neutral. I'm independent, and me serving in the military for 17 years, the commander in chief was the commander in chief. He was my boss. So it didn't matter. So because of those ideas, through that, I became independent. And I look at my voting status and how I vote from not only a national scale and scope, but a global one. Not just one particular issue. So, we talked about intersectionality earlier and the effects of systemic inequalities in that. Now, you have to ask yourself this question. I'm going to give you guys a question. How can intersectionality help us address systemic inequalities more effectively? I know that's a great question. That's a great question. I know. That's a real good question. Y'all think about that one, man. And let me know what you come up with. And send me, this is your homework. Send me to my smarts and to the final boss. Send me your homework, man. I'm a grade y'all. Send me your homework at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. So first, we have to acknowledge the complex interplay of various social categories. Intersectionality provides a more nuanced understanding of social inequalities. It definitely affects policymaking. You can see that right now. You can definitely see that right now. It helps to develop policies that address the unique needs and experience of marginalized groups. I think somebody just sent me a message. I don't see it. There's various examples of those issues. Sometimes it's racial bias in the criminal justice system. We all know it's there. We try to close a blind eye, but we see it. We know it's there. It is what it is. When we start being honest about these things, we're going to all be better off for it. We have to start being honest about this stuff, man. These things are taking place for a reason. Oh man, boy. It's happening for a reason. And it's not just because we're making a shift to a more American what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of it. A more American, all American first posture. We're already Americans. Our posture is already American first. I, for one, should know that. I've been to three wartime deployments, three, which is three too many. Trust me. So we're already in that American first posture. We're already American first. We don't need people taking out artifacts from the African American History Museum to say that, oh, we that makes us less American. No, it don't. That's flag on a play. That's bull crap. We don't need to sensationalize the Columbus Day holiday. Another flag on the play. This time a black flag. I'm like, not celebrating Columbus and being honest about exactly what that is. We already know what it is. That's not going to change anything. We're already American. That does not make us less or more American. It doesn't. What also doesn't make us less or more American if you decide to start having these racial barriers put in place. That doesn't make us less or more American. These are just ideas. That's all they are. And ideas come and go. Ideas come and go. Just like those ideas of the 50s and the ideas of the 60s, those ideas came and gone. They were here and then they were gone. And so forth and so on. We could talk about all different types of policies that different presidents came up with, from Nixon to our current president. Policies that were here during their presidency and policies that were gone immediately after they left out the door. Trust me, they're just ideas. So those are some of the examples, right? And we need to start being honest. We need to start being honest about these policies. We need to start being honest about why these things are taking place. We know why they are, but we're not verbally speaking on it. We know that Columbus didn't find Columbus ain't find shit. There were people here, colony. There were historians, man. You gotta love them, man. If you don't read, go read. Go read. Everybody was here in America, from the Vikings to the Africans to Spaniards. Man, everybody was here. Everybody was here. They had already set up shop. Now what Columbus did, instead of these charters and all this other stuff, and I'm not going to get into that on this particular episode, but those are some of the examples. Gender inequality in the workplace. We've known about that. Again, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Women's rights is not even 100 years old. It's not even 100 years old. Think about that. Women's rights is not 100 years old. Think about that. And they're just now gaining foot on the earning perspective. But women been working really. Shout out to the ladies out there, man. Shout out to you guys. Y'all been putting in the work and doing the damn thing, not only for you, but for your family, and continuing and thriving as Americans. Shout out to you guys for doing that and holding it down, right? But we've all have seen gender inequality in the workplace, or some people have even benefited from the intersectional approach. I'm sure there's somebody who's watching this right now. I'm like, you know what? He's right. I benefited from it. Yep, I know. But there comes a point where we have to start being honest and bring balance to it. The balance can emphasize group identity, and it can help with the principle of universal human rights. The principle of universal human rights. This is a critical, crucial challenge for this country. I can't speak on anybody else's country. I can only speak on what's going on in this country. It is a critical, crucial challenge. There are proponents of identity politics that argue about addressing group specific inequalities and the belief that it's essential for achieving universal human rights. Hmm, think about that. But why we are coming up and coming together to face the challenges of universal human rights, we have to make sure that we aren't undermining those very same ideas for universal human rights that may conflict with identity politics. We have to ensure and avoid sensationalizing group identities and to recognize the diversity of those experiences. Because everybody has different experiences. Everybody has social economic differences and social economic uh um experiences, right? Everybody's different. Everyone's different. There's strategies for actually there's strategies that we can put together and promote both and bring them together. It could be group specific for universal rights, focusing on shared values, common goals, and acknowledging the unique experiences of those marginalized groups. The future of identity politics evolves in how we start looking at these processes and these challenges. If we break it down, instead of looking at it from an identity linear perspective, and we combine them, like I just mentioned, and look at shared goals, common goals, and shared values, you could put a group of people in a room and start taking a tally on what's important to you. What are your shared values? What are your common goals? Right? And then we can start building these unique experiences. The future, the future is bright. The future is bright. There are bright minds on the other side of this screen, bright minds, smarts, final bosses who are having these debates They're talking about these challenges, and they, you guys understand exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to have these conversations and discuss with your friends, your neighbor, your family members, identity politics. You may call it something else, right? You may call it something else, but I know y'all are having these discussions. I know you are. I know you are. The current administration, the polls, they're just their numbers. They fluctuate. They up and down. They're up and down, but they don't look so hot right now. But people are talking about it. People are debating and having these discussions around these things. Those debates that you're having, you can have a balance between group specific and universal approaches. The potential for marrying those two to assist in getting away from identity politics and social divisions and how they play a role in intersectionality to address systemic inequalities because in all honesty, let's be real, we all suffer from some level of systemic inequalities. Unless you're a billionaire. Oh, thank you for giving me the finger. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love it. I love it. Now how many times they give me the finger? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 times. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the finger 10 times. Thank you so much. But um if we increase the focus on intersectionality and growing recognition of the importance of key trends and positive language, we can change this country. We can change the future. We can eliminate identity politics and bring it together under one umbrella of things that the goals we want or have and the ideas and values that we believe in. We bring those together. That's what this country is all about, bringing it together. That's what the country was formed under, bringing it all together. We just have to promote more positivity in that. And it will become, or we will become, an equitable society. And us being equitable, and a lot of people are concerned about money in their pocket. Well, when you have equity, you have more money. Hey, listen, that's our show for tonight. I know it was a little bit of word salad, man, but sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary. I talked about the pros and the cons, what's favored, what's conflicting, and then I've tied it all together on how we bring it together, right? That's our show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. I will see you on Tuesday with the Sensei for our next episode on extending that series. Next up, we're going to be talking about high UBI and regular UBI, which is universal basic income. We're going to be talking about universal basic income on Tuesday. at 9 p.m. And then on Thursday, I have a special guest. Her name is Sharon Austin. She has 20 plus years of HR experience as VP for several media organizations. She will be on a show on Thursday at 9 p.m. And we're going to be talking about self reflection and self love. That is our show tonight. I love you guys. Y'all go out there and be positive, be great, but most importantly, be equal, be balanced, and be safe and be smart. You have a great evening. That's our show. Have a good one.